Nation, I'm wearing a Megadeth shirt because that's the discography that I'm going to be working on next. But first off, it's time for me to finish one that I started long ago. And we're talking like 7 months ago. Right at the turn of the new year. And that's the Pantera Discography. This is something that a lot of you guys have been clamoring for, especially lately. So obviously I've gotten a lot of Pantera fans checking out my work that want to hear what I have to say about their final album, Reinventing the Steel. Now, Reinventing the Steel came a couple of years after the Great Southern Trendkill, and as I just mentioned, was the finale of Pantera's career. Internal combustion within the band just grew to be way too much, and, well, as we all know from our history, well, the whole breakup was a little bit, not the best. However, this final album, Reinventing the Steel, was an album that was dedicated to the fans, and this was Pantera's way of really speaking out against the scene that they have been heralded as the starters of, as well as letting you know exactly what their stance is on a lot of the different aspects of this particular scene. Yesterday Don't Mean Shit, Goddamn Electric, Hellbound, We'll Grind That Axe for a Long Time. These are all songs that were, well, basically for the fans. And this was Phil and the boys giving their trademark view on just exactly what they think. This is an album that does have all the groove-laden masterpiece riffs that Dime was always so treasured for. However, this is one where not a lot of people will remember some of these riffs as easily as they would remember those from, say, Cowboys from Hell or Walk or any works of the past, such as 5 Minutes Alone or I'm Broken, just to name a couple of tracks. However, this is an album where, for what it's worth, it's pretty decent. Overall, I'd have to say that this was the Pantera album for me, where it seemed like you could tell that the internal combustion was really getting to the band. Even though they were able to come together and make this really, just uproarious effort where they were able to speak their mind as harshly as they were able to do on the record, it just seemed as though that this was a band that was mired and kind of moving in different directions. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Of course, we learned later on that Phil decided to go and try other projects such as Superjoint Ritual and recapturing the Down project, while Dime and a couple of the other boys went on to form Damage Plan. And this album was kind of the unofficial send-off for Pantera, leaving fans wondering if there would ever be another album, if there would ever be another tour, or if they would even speak again. It's kind of interesting that their final album is basically for the fans, because it was almost like the band was saying thank you. Almost like they kind of knew that it was going to be their last hurrah before, well, the dissolution of the band. And overall, whenever you consider all these factors together, Reinventing the Steel is a relatively solid affair. If this was any other band, and if this was any other message that was being sent, one could argue that maybe this album is a little weak. However, whenever you put something out that's for the fans, you really can't go wrong. But we have to be just. Not to mention we also have to be impartial. We can't let all of these petty little things, well, really stand in our way of giving this a good, honest review. So, overall, I would have to say that Reinventing the Steel, in my opinion at least, is the weakest album by Pantera. If we're discounting, of course, the 4 from the 1980s. Now, I said that I was originally going to tackle those. I may still do that at some point, but for right now, you can officially consider the Pantera Discography a case closed. Overall, I gotta say that this is quite the career. Reinventing the Steel is one of those albums where, I don't know, for me it was a little weak, but whenever you consider that it was for the fans, by the band, you really can't say anything negative about that. It's something where they definitely were able to get their points of view out there, and they still rocked your fucking face off while doing it. So, hey, can't really complain there. I'd give it probably about a 7.5. Kind of a weak score, but like I said, I prefer other ones better. But, hey, opinion's opinion. With that, the Pantera book is closed. And I want to thank you guys for waiting so long for this video. Thanks again. Have a good one.